We are live, calling on all channels. We got Jason in the house. Jason, what's up, bro?
What's going on, buddy? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So we're just in the trenches today. Jason's out there hunting down these commercial deals. And I'm like, Jay, let's go live, bro. It's been a minute since we jumped on and added some value to the audience. So I wanted to get this live stream up and running. And so we can just talk about the current state of the real estate market, current state of the economy, but also give some valuable knowledge on how some of our listeners can apply this stuff and go out there and hunt down some good deals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so a lot of people reached out to me the past couple of days. I put a post up about Warren Buffett. He ended up selling a bunch of his holdings, right? Sold a bunch of,
I
and
saw that.
he invested in three home building companies, right? He invested in D.R. Horton, in
All right.
Lennar, and SVR. So what does that tell us, right? That tells us as a whole that he is making preparations, right? He just made a big move in his portfolio towards new construction. And especially across the southeastern United States, we all know that the demand for housing is skyrocketed, right? It's
Skyrocketed.
gone up a lot. And so, what our team has been doing internally is we're really leaning in, right? We're paying attention to all these different indicators, all these different factors. And quite honestly, it's pushed us into the bigger deals, right? It's pushed us into commercial real estate and it's pushed us into the land development space. But I just wanted to get on, man, and really just talk about the big picture. Because
Right.
if you look at a lot of the commercial apartment owners and commercial at all facets, we're starting to see a little bit more distress, right? A little bit more people
A
that are
lot.
raising their hand saying, hey, we need to get these assets off of the books, right? Because a lot of these groups, they acquired the assets when the interest rates were still super, super low, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the projections when they made the acquisition, they're banking on being able to refinance out of the bridge loan, right? And have this asset cash flowing.
Yep.
Well, what happened is the Fed jacked up the rates so quick, right? In
Yep.
fact, in the 6 month period, they rose rates quicker than we've ever seen in history, right? So what it did, it didn't give anyone time to pivot. And so a lot of these groups are over leveraged. So we're
They
starting to
are.
see
They
seller
are.
financing opportunities,
Uh-huh.
right?
And just to
Yeah.
piggyback from
What
that,
do you see?
not only just REITs, man. A lot of guys are pretty much trying to get out of these assets right now because of insurance. Insurance rates is crazy. And
You ain't lying,
right,
bro.
and you mentioned about these bridge loans. Some of these loans are due to come due within the next few months. So they're trying to pretty much get out of the assets before those loans become, due. But right now, to be honest with you, man, what I've been seeing for the past few months, and me talk about this, I would say about the beginning July, a lot of our brokers has been reaching out to us, the ones we have relationships with, and bringing back old deals to us, deals that we already looked at probably a few months ago that sellers were only offering cash. But they're bringing back these deals to us now, saying that, sellers are now motivated to pretty much do something creative. I'm like, really? And that's been a trend for the past few weeks where, they're running out of time.
Hey Jay, I'm gonna go live on Instagram. Whip out your phone and let's go ahead and just dually stream.
Okay.
You might have to turn the volume down on Insta so that it's not echoing in the Facebook live stream. But let's go ahead and we'll get live on Instagram as well.
Okay.
All right. So check my Instagram and it should allow you to join on. Yeah, so in the background as Jason's joining on Instagram, um, we've been in the our team's been in the weeds, right? It's been a heavy lifting season for us, and we've been really building out the technology side of the business, right? We've been investing in the tech, um, getting the infrastructure for Apex Commercial up and running, right? So we do have a tight niche uh, technology driven ecosystem where we aggregate buyer and sellers, right? So we've got a big plethora of commercial real estate buyers who are hungry for deals, right? The deals have to make sense. And then we've got the off market acquisitions team who's actively sourcing and hunting down these opportunities. It's been an overtaking to say the least, right? Like pivoting from single family into commercial real estate. It's not an easy feat, man, right? Like it's not for the faint in heart. But if you look at the big picture, um, you got to be able to pivot. You have to be able to pivot. Jason, I tried adding you as a moderator. Can you accept that? Does it let you
Uh,
accept? Let's see.
I'll send you a request. There you go.
Is it letting you on?
Yeah, there we go.
Boom. All right, turn your volume all the way down on Insta.
Okay.
So yeah, man, we got a couple deals in motion. We've got a lot of LOIs that have
A
come in
lot.
the past few weeks.
A
A
lot.
lot, right? So they're striking. The buyers are hungry. Commercial real estate, we're seeing a big transfer, right? When you look at the big picture, we are in the biggest transfer of wealth in history,
Mm-hmm.
right? And recognizing that, seeing the shifting that's taking place. Well, when wealth transfers hands, it's not disappearing. The money's not essentially just disappearing out of the ecosystem, but it's moving hands, right? It's transferring hands.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to recognize that and position yourself to see where things are moving, right? See where things are flowing. And if you look at the big picture, it's going to start to get a little bit worse, right?
I know.
It's not hard to see that there's a lot of blood in the streets already, right? Deal flow slowed down for traditional real estate investors. But again, it's times like this that you need to lean in. There's a quote that goes like this: in times of change, learners will inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to live in a world that no longer exists.
So let
And
me
if
ask
you
you
look,
this, Ben. What is it you think, like, you know, whether it's newbie investors or even seasonal investors, what is it you think um going into next year um most investors need to be doing right now as far as like positioning themselves?
paying attention to the debt structure, man, right? Looking where the rates are going at this point, looking at the Fed's schedule, right? It's really hard for a business owner, an entrepreneur, a real estate investor to really project because it's just not a stable climate, right? We're like every other week we're seeing fluctuate, right? Like rates are just jacked back up, almost like as high as they have been yet, right? So it's really hard environment to operate if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur,
Right.
right? So when you're making purchasing decisions, right? When you're acquiring assets, it's all debt, right? That's the world that we've built. Everything is built on debt. And so when you're leaning in and looking to buy a 100-door apartment building, right? Well, it's your acquisition is going to be based on debt unless you got 1031 money or something sitting
Right.
around, right? But um most of the most of the traffic that we see coming through right now, they're hungry for assumable debt,
They are.
right? And what that means is basically if there's debt that was positioned before rates jacked up, right? Where it was 2.5, 3%, even 4% interest rates, right? That puts you in a position where you can cash flow much easier
Right.
if the ability is there to either assume the debt or for some type of creative structure, partnerships, seller carryback, whatever that looks like. But those are the deals and those are the offers that we see coming through,
Right.
right? It's any group that's going to be coming in on an asset. If they have to put new debt in place, it's just what we've experienced is it's hard to make the deal work,
Right.
right? It's where we're at.
So what I've been seeing with most of our new investors that came on board through of course, our platform, Apex Commercial, is that each investor have different um, exit and entering strategy. And what I mean by that, some buyers want to, they care about NOI, some care about cash flow, and most recently, I'm seeing where they're paying more attention to COC, uh, IRR, AAR, and that's it. Depending again, you know, the type of asset, I mean, how they want to get into the asset, is it something that they can do creative that has a agency bet or not, whichever way. But each investors, from what I'm seeing, they have a different game plan as far as how they're getting into the deal, how they're exiting the deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's all creative though, right? Like it's all thinking outside of the box, right? And it's interesting, right? As you move into these bigger assets, you realize that, all these investors, they think outside of the box. They buy creative. They understand creative deal structure at a very high level,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like Pace Morby's really blown up sub 2 in the single family space, right? It's very mainstream now, and he's built a huge following through that movement, right? That guy adds tremendous value across the industry. And it's interesting to see the similarities as you pivot from the single family real estate space into
Multi-family.
bigger deals
Mm-hmm.
in the commercial, but it those skill sets are transferable, right? And when you learn the power that you have in your grasp, when you can structure deals creatively, the world is yours, right? But it's learning how to apply those creative offers and be able to position them and explain them to your sellers,
Right.
to the brokers, right? To the receiving parties, so that you guys can put something together that makes sense for all parties,
Absolutely. And I think,
right?
just to piggyback from it, I think one ways on how to do that to a seller who is probably not that familiar with something creative is to find out his or her motivation initially. I mean, why you guys sell it? Is it a case where you're just tired of managing the asset? Is it a case where you now want to manage the asset by yourself? So you want to pretty much get those talking points in your initial conversation. That way you can see how motivated he or she is.
That's right.
So good point.
Yep. And just having a really good vetting process, right? Like even when you're doing broker outreach, seller outreach, broker outreach, making sure that we're checking all of these boxes, right? You want to pull out the motivation points. You want to get a whisper price, right?
Hmm.
You want to figure out where do we need to be to put this deal together. And we've learned some things the hard way, right? There's been some deals where we had some strong LOIs in place, man. And
A
in
lot.
fact, one of them came in like at asking price, right? And so we set up the call with the broker. Hey, what do we need to do to get this deal done? And dude, I don't know if it was time. I mean, there was multiple decision makers, right? The seller, there was multiple. It was inherited, and there was multiple members that were making the decision.
That
But they
was the
literally they
calls, right?
raised their price $1 million.
Right. That was
Ravenwood.
the Ravenwood. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that was crazy, 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 crazy. Because we were actually giving them asking price, and I guess there was actually two other groups that was actually bidding on the asset as well, and they pretty much started like a bidding war.
Yep. Yep.
So
So relationships is everything, right? So for the people, the newer people that are out there, hunting down deals, doing broker outreach, building relationships with sellers, really going deep, right? Making sure that you're building the relationship first. You're showing them the value that you have to offer, right? And for us, we move as a unit, right? It's not a one man team, but we're
100%.
we're building a machine, right? The goal is to build up a well-oiled machine where we can aggregate a bunch of off-market commercial deal flow. The same way we're doing the hedge fund deals with the single-family houses, right? The goal is to get opportunities coming down the transom in the commercial side and having a platform, right? Like almost a smaller relationship driven version of your Crexy or your LoopNet, right? But built on relationships.
Right.
And so as the vision is beginning to unfold, right? We're still very early in the venture, but as we're starting to build the things, that's it, right? We want to put relationships first.
Always.
We want our buyers to know, right? And our strategic partners to know that we're putting our best foot forward, right?
Hmm.
We're out there in the trenches, right? We're putting in the work, sourcing opportunities, and we're making sure that these opportunities check off every single box, right? Before placing it in front of them. Because you
Right.
think about it, when you're playing the game at a high level, you don't have time to underwrite a crappy deal, right?
Oh,
You don't have time to look at or get, check your email with an asset that doesn't even fit inside of your buy box,
I know.
right? You have to make sure that when you're curating these relationships that you're dialed in,
It
right?
is. So just to piggyback from that, so one of many things that you know about is, but just for audience purposes, one of many things we do whenever we onboard any of our new buyers, we normally get an idea of their buy box. Asset class, year built, uh, number of units, um, what type of value add you guys normally look for in those specific assets, and whatever information we can as much information we can actually get from those potential buyers, it you know it makes the deal flow even a lot easier. That way we're not bringing assets to them that doesn't make any sense to their buy box. And even sometimes, just a few days ago, Ben, me had a conversation about this where we have one of our most recent investors that's actually buying more so Midwest and selective parts of the Sun Belt region. But we had a deal for them, and me and Lisa talk about this. Everything hit the point, like all their pretty much their criteria. We met all the criteria in the buy box, and they came back to us and say that we're probably gonna pass on this deal because it has a pitch deck roof. No, that wasn't something that we talked about initially. Which is, again, it's a good thing that we know that. So right now we know that, what I mean, moving forward, the next deal is gonna be a flat roof.
Yep.
But having these conversation with them, man, is very important, just so that you can actually send deals that's making sense to them.
Absolutely. Yep. The vetting process in the beginning, it's not only vetting for our side, right? To make sure that you're legit, to make sure that you already have assets under the management, that we've got
Right.
the bio, right? But it's also for your time and well-being as a buyer, right? As an acquisition specialist, knowing that we're collecting all of those data points up front, right? We want to be very specific. We want to be dialed in,
Right.
and we want to make sure that we have a very clear view of your purchasing criteria so that we can hand select and find assets that fit inside of that
Right.
scope, right? And if you look at the big picture, what is business?
Mm.
What is business? It's an exchange of value, right? Business is an exchange of value. It's it's identifying gaps or identifying problems in the marketplace and then crafting solutions to help meet those issues, right? It's transacting relationships in the marketplace and figuring out how to serve people, figuring out how to add value to what they're already doing,
Right.
right? And then being able to pull out and match their needs. That's how winning is done,
Simple.
right? So if you can the better that you get to know your sphere of influence, right? The better that you build relationships with people inside of your industry, whatever that might be, and understand it on a personal level,
Mm.
like, what are your needs, right? How can we best serve you? How can we help you meet your investment goals? When you can do that, you win,
100%.
right? Every single
A
time.
100%. Yep. And I'm pretty sure I'm seeing a lot of comments right now saying that, Ben, you need to do this a lot more. You don't do it that often. But dude, I'm telling you, like, you've been missing in action for a while. And for a lot of people who don't know, Ben is a busy bee, like myself. So being, doing these live streams every now and then, it's something that we talk about that we want to start doing again for our, audience. So definitely we will be doing a lot more of this be.
Yeah, we're coming back in action. We had to take a step back and really stabilize operations, right? But also get the master game plan together, right? Like you can stay out here and you can stay on Front Street, but you got to make sure that the spaceship is ready before you take off,
Hmm.
right? And so the past several months has been preparation. We've been building out. Well, one, we got the CRM out, right? So we got the AI lead generation system, Client Pro AI. That thing is going to be revolutionary, right? So we're just starting to introduce that to the real estate market. For those of you on Instagram, if you guys want to check that thing out and take it for a test drive, we're actually we have a 14-day free trial set up for the program, so you guys can test drive that thing for yourself. If you reply yes in the comments, uh, I'll I'll personally send you a link. Right, we'll send you a link. You could try a free trial, get in the interweavings with that. But our goal with it is, as we're building our infrastructure, right, as we're growing as a company, we're also going to be giving out value, right, giving out coaching, consulting in the same, and helping you build out the AI lead generation system, because it's powerful, right? The world is changing before our eyes,
Yeah.
and it's those that are able to stay in front of this massive market shift, massive technology shift, right? And when AI was introduced to the mainstream public earlier this year,
Hmm.
people were shocked, right? I don't think anyone saw it coming as quickly as it did. And it's going to be as revolutionary as the internet, if not more.
It is.
You can bet that 50 to 80% of our jobs will be replaced in the next 10
I
years.
wouldn't even put it that far, B, to be honest with you, because what I'm seeing what they're doing with AI right now, they're actually implementing AI in every single thing possible they can. What I mean? Web
Yeah,
builders, you can pretty much build a website, within what, 2 minutes? That's crazy, dude.
it's crazy.
So,
It's crazy, man.
yeah.
Yep. I mean, think about copywriting, right? Copywriting, the age of copywriters, most copywriters will be out in the next few years. Accounting, right? AI is so advanced it can literally run an accounting system for you, right?
Yep.
I mean, there's always going to be a need for accountants at some level, but the way that they do the game, the way that they show up and actually do the work, it's going to look a lot differently in 2 to 5 years, right? So it's understanding where we're at. I mean, in the life cycle of humanity, right? And looking at the big picture, taking a look at where you're at in your current industry and asking yourself, what skill sets do I need to learn, right? Or what tools do I need to implement to make sure that I stay ahead of this shift?
Right.
Because we all know things are changing, bro. It's happening everywhere around us.
Whether you want to believe it or not, it is.
Yep. So, what skill sets do you need to acquire, right, to stay on the forefront and to rise to the top of your field? Because a lot of people are. It's already happening, dude. The shakeout's already
I
happening.
see that.
But if you want to stay ahead of it, man, get 1% better every day, right?
So
Get 1% better.
let me ask you this: how do you see AI and real estate becoming one?
It's a very broad question. I think
Well, so let me be more
I don't.
transparent then. So do you see AI taking over like property management, real estate agents?
Eventually, eventually, yes. That's gonna take some time though, right? Um, I think the first areas that it starts to infiltrate is going to be the data and analytics, right? So, for example, you get a big multifamily apartment and you need to underwrite it, right? I mean, a quick back of the napkin underwrite might take 10 minutes, but if you're going to do a full underwrite on the deal, aside from actually physically going to the property and looking at it, a full underwrite's going to take you a few hours, bro.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to have to do a deep dive. You're going to have to do deep market research.
Yeah.
The more that AI starts to get more advanced, right, and the predictive learning algorithm starts to grow, that's one of the first areas that it's going to replace, right? Where you can just upload a spreadsheet into the system and it just, it looks through the human error and the gaps and spits out a cap rate, right? Spits out the numbers that you need to make an educated decision.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing, right? Like inside of the Client Pro system that we've got, we've already got AI that's communicating with people inside of our CRM, right? So if somebody comes in, it's programmed, right? The bot is programmed to communicate back with the people, the users, in order to either schedule and book an appointment or set them up with a free trial, right? Same thing with the real estate, right? The bot can communicate with the people inside of the thread, right? Hey, Mr. Seller, thank you so much for reaching out. Let us know when a good time is to connect, right? And so it goes through a string of communication channels and will literally book the appointment for you. So all the acquisitions person has to do is show up on the phone call and build a relationship, right?
Dude, let's talk about Client Pro a little bit, man. Tell tell these people the possibilities and the things and the capabilities he's capable of doing. That's gonna make their job 10 times easier.
Yeah. So, I mean, the number one thing that most business owners struggle with is client acquisition, right? It's finding more leads and converting those leads into customers, into clients. And so what we've built is, well, one, it communicates very well with Google, right? We've got a customer review automation where you can literally click a button and then tell the system who you want to send a review request to, right? And so when you're trying to become more visible online, right? It's very simple, right? Google wants to see a couple things. It wants to make sure that your information, the address and phone number and company profile is the same across all platforms,
Mm-hmm.
right? So all the social bookmarking, the Yelp, all your Google pages are properly, but also wants to see reviews. So the more reviews and the more people that rate your business, it helps you grow in relevance, right? So the review automation piece of the equation just helps to boost ranking, right? Where you can bring in more organic clients. But something simple like a missed call text back. A lot of businesses are still operating with an old school traditional phone system,
Right.
right? They'll miss phone calls and there might be an answering machine or something, right? But there's no rhyme or reason to like the customer follow up and the service part of it. And so what the software provides is basically a user friendly way to stay in front of your people, but it's also treated like a sales pipeline, right? So that every contact, every relationship that comes into your sales funnel, it's nurtured, right? And it takes a lead all the way through the conversion process until they turn into a client.
Mm.
We could dive for days into the features and the things, but at the end of the day, the goal is to simplify your life and to bring in more clients. If you're a real estate investor, bring in more deals, close more contracts.
100%. No, are you giving away a free trial for that, or what are you doing with that?
Yeah, so we got a free trial for Client Pro. Let me find the code. That little up thing. If you scan it, it'll literally take you to a free trial, right? So you can get set up on the platform. Those of you on Instagram, you guys aren't watching from Facebook, just put yes in the comments if you want to check that out.
Yeah, you guys check it out for free. It's pretty powerful. Trust me.
Yeah, it's got some really strong features. That's actually, I mean, that's what we've built the inside operations with the commercial real estate business. right? Let's talk about big picture, Jay. What's on the 12-month plan for Apex?
The 12-month plan for Apex. Well, Apex is actually my baby, as much as though Ben is the one who built it, of course. But so Apex, for most of you guys who don't know about the Apex platform as yet, as you need to, Apex is pretty much our platform that we use to onboard our new investors. It gives us the opportunity, just like what we talked about earlier, to um, give us an idea of um, where they're buying, city, states, um, number of units, criteria, and all that. And what we do, we have our one of our member of our team, Lila. She do our client outreach, where she curate the relationships with these buyers, vet them in a sense, just to make sure that they're credible buyers. And you know, after that, it's pretty much we just putting deals in front of them. So I'm happy about this platform. I think it's gonna be something a little bit different. Me and Ben, we keep saying that we don't want to compare it to a Crexit or a LoopNet, but it's gonna be operating in a whole different way. Where we're because all the assets that we normally acquire are just off market leads compared to a Crexit or LoopNet. These are market assets that's actually on market. So that's just something by itself that's separating us from a Crexi or a LoopNet already. So that's one of the things that I know we're going to bring value to our existing investors and new investors.
100%. 100%, bro. You remember that one Instagram that I shared probably almost a year ago? It was right in the middle of the market shift, right?
Hmm.
You brought it up earlier about having your line in the water,
Right.
right? And it talks about the seasons of your life where the tide is going out, right? Where literally it's the tide is going out right now, right? It's times like this that you really see who lost their shorts, right? Um, but it's in those seasons of your life, the shifting, where all you got to do is have your line in the water, right?
He's right.
People are it's easy to see people are scrambling everywhere they can, right? Trying to hustle for deals, trying to hustle for work, no matter what industry you're in. It's not hard to see that the economy is just right. But the one piece of encouragement that I could put out to our listeners is you got to have your line in the water, right?
Have to.
Whatever that means to you, right? Making sure that you're in a position to receive the opportunities that are coming down the transom, because they're coming, right? There's a tsunami of opportunities here that are already starting to fester up, right?
Yep.
We're already starting to see a lot of foreclosures coming in the market, and this is just the beginning, right? So it's gonna be a very interesting time to say the least, right? But it's those who are prepared, those who are positioned, and those who are surrounding themselves with a community and a network of people who are moving in a common direction, who are going to be the beneficiaries of that, right?
100%.
So
Hundred
be
percent.
prepared. Find your
Uh,
tribe. Find your tribe, man. Get involved with the community who's moving in that direction, right? Get in alignment with the right people. This is the season that you got to stick together, man. You got to stick together. So we've been pretty quiet the past couple of months, right? It's been a preparation period, but we're going to be coming out a lot more. We're going to be adding some more value for you guys and investor
Coming out
syndicate
swinging.
community. What's that, Jay?
We're gonna be coming out swinging.
Swinging,
Yep.
swinging. We got to get a mastermind on the board.
We are.
Orlando, go to your home base.
Let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
man.
I
Cool,
need to go to Colombia though, man. But we're gonna chop it up though. All right.
cool. Get that money, bro. we got some deals to shake.
We are. We have a few more offers on the table, man. We're just waiting for these big, big wigs to get closed.
Find that. Roger says, "Find that campfire." You ain't lying, Roger. Dude, that's so. I'm gonna say this, man. In business, we don't have enough kumbaya moments.
Mm,
We get so caught up in the hustle and bustle, right? We're so caught up building a business that we overlook some of the simple things that are right in front of our face, right? And then as men, as human beings, we need those kumbaya moments, bro. We need the opportunities to gather around a campfire, right? Light up a cigar, crack open a drink and just chat, right? Do life together, be vulnerable, talk about the wins, right? But also strategize around the losses,
100.
right? Kumbaya.
Yep.
Yep. I'm glad you brought that up, Roger. Find that campfire.
What's up?
I've been talking about it for a minute. As soon as the fall season gets here, once we're out of summer, in the backyard, man, it's going down.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a trip.
You need to, bro.
I know, but you already know what's going on, man. We've been in the weeds trying to lock up these multi-family deals, man. And for the record, man, me and this dude, we had a bet last year that if we hit $1 million deal, I'm supposed to be jumping out of a plane.
$1 million net.
Net.
We got
Okay.
a net a mil.
Okay. Is that still on the table, or are we gonna?
Damn right.
Okay.
Damn right. Hey,
Okay.
so a lot of people have been hitting us up about the swag, right? The Investor Syndicate hat is probably like the most.
Okay.
A lot of people have been like Lenny, dude. 2 days ago, he's like, "Man, I need a hat. I need a hat." We just got them back in stock. So that
Okay.
little
I'm
QR
gonna
code
one
on.
for minutes.
Yeah, man. But
Pretty neat.
we're back in motion. Someone scanned it, dude. That's pretty cool. The technology told me that someone just scanned the thing.
Let me scan mine right now.
You should scan it, bro. That's crazy, man. It literally, the system told me that someone scanned it. That's where
Awesome.
technology is going. You can't hide. Digital footprint, man.
These hats, is it one size fit all, or how it works?
Yeah, this one is. It's a
Okay.
dad hat, right? So it's got the mesh back.
Yeah.
I've got a traditional snapback too, but these ones are some of my favorites, bro. They're clean. They're clean, brother.
Yeah, you
We gotta
guys need to get some pictures, man. They're pretty tight.
Yeah. We got to get Roger and Ben Weisbaums on the call.
Okay.
They've been on the background doing it up. All right, what's give the audience one word before we run, Jay. What's the encouragement as we close out?
I think honestly, man, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head a few minutes ago. Just make sure that your line is in the water, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, real estate. It can be whatever sector you're in, from a business standpoint. But if your line is not in the water, you have no chance of catching whatever you're trying to seek, and that's just the easiest way I can put it.
It's good.
All right.
Good stuff, man. Well, with that said, you guys get out there, stay consistent. Happy Friday. Take time this weekend to wind down a little bit, spend time with those who are close to you and that you love. But just take a step back and be intentional enough to plan out your week on Sunday, right? You got to learn how to unplug, but preparation is also important. So get out there, guys, make it great, and we'll see you on the other side.